Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing when does a dumper feel guilty? I provide audio coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details. www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing when does a dumper feel guilty? So guilt is something that a dumpee likely wants their ex to feel. But there are different types of guilt with different outcomes. In today's podcast, I'll be discussing 3 likely reasons why a dumper will feel guilty after a breakup. So let's get straight into this. And point number 1 is when dumpee is distraught. Now, this is a heartbreaking moment, and if you are a dumpee, you are quite possibly feeling distraught. Maybe you were feeling distraught, and I'm here to tell you that you will move forward from this. You will feel happiness again with or without your ex. Okay, you need to focus on you right now and understand that your feelings are temporary. But we are, in today's podcast, focusing on the dumper guilt and the different types of guilt. And when we look at point number 1, when dumpee feels distraught, certainly most dumpers at this time, during this moment, would feel guilty. But if you're a dumpee and you want to try to get your ex back, this isn't the type of guilt that you were looking for. If your ex-dumper feels guilty because you seem distraught, you seem incredibly upset, you seem lost, you seem hurt beyond belief, then this doesn't mean that your ex-dumper wants to reconnect with you romantically. So we have to try to separate this, because most dumpers do not want to hurt their dumpee. Most dumpers feel very, very bad when they think about their ex going through pain. The reason why somebody ends a relationship is because they've lost romantic emotional attraction for their partner, and they decide that to live a fulfilled life themselves, they need to end the relationship and go on a different path. But this doesn't mean that if they feel that their ex is distraught, that they're not going to feel bad. And as I'm trying to get across in point number 1, most dumpers, if they feel that their dumpee is distraught, are going to feel guilty. But this isn't the same type of guilt that is going to get 2 people back together. So if you're a dumpee and you're thinking, look, I'm clearly in a very bad way, but the benefit of this is my dumper knows this, and they seem to feel guilty about how upset I am, this isn't going to get them back. Because you can't get somebody back through pity. You can't get somebody back through them worrying about you. You can't get somebody back in a romantic sense because they are concerned for your well-being. This is not how it works. As I just said a little early in today's podcast, a relationship ends when somebody loses romantic emotional attraction for their now former partner. The only way that 2 people can reconnect is if that level of romantic emotional attraction rises again to the necessary high point. Now, there is no 100% guaranteed way to get your ex back, but if you want hints, tips and advice for your specific unique situation of how you can increase the chance of romantic emotional attraction being grown in your dumper's mind, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service where me and you can speak one-on-one about your specific situation. Check out my website www.dateme.tips for more details about how I can become your teammate and your coach. But alternative to this, if you're feeling I just want to check out all of the other podcasts that you've uploaded, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out the playlists. That's probably the best way to really delve into the content that I provide. But please bear in mind, this has to be generalized. Of course, I'm speaking to men, I'm speaking to women, I'm speaking to demographics of ages ranging from 18 to 70. So I have to be generalized somewhat. So if you want specific advice, you may want to consider audio coaching. But as I'm saying in point number 1, if your ex-dumper feels that you are distraught, if they feel bad, guilty, even upset because you are upset, because you don't feel like you can cope in this scenario. Unfortunately for you as a dumpee, this doesn't mean they're going to connect with you again in a romantic sense. This type of guilt is because they're worried about you, but it connects with pity rather than romance. And unfortunately, dumpees, if you want your ex back, that is not the type of guilt that you want your ex to feel. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast about when does a dumper feel guilty. And point number 2 is when their self-esteem is lessened. Now this is more along the lines of a type of guilt where romantic emotional attraction may start growing for a former partner. If your ex-dumper has their own self-esteem lessened, this is when they may feel guilty for how they treated their ex-dumpee and how they now see them in a romantic sense. So if you want to grow romantic emotional attraction in your ex's mind, one of the things which can really go in your favour is something which, in some respects, you don't have too much influence over, and that is if your ex-dumper has their own self-esteem lessened. Now, if you want to understand about how you can take some positive impact in growing romantic emotional attraction through guilt, keep listening to point number 3, and I'll be delving into that a little bit later today. But first of all, point number 2, this is a situation where a dumper loses self-esteem because maybe they receive a knockback themselves. Maybe they feel that they want to move on their own journey after they've ended your relationship. Maybe they try to date somebody else and they get knocked back. Now, you as a dumpee might think, well, I don't want to be a backup plan. And I'm not saying that you do, but that is one instance of where if a dumper's self-esteem is lessened, they may start to feel guilty about how they've treated you because they are now feeling in a similar way. There are other reasons and ways as for why self-esteem could be lessened in a dumper, and this doesn't have to be romantically, but it could still affect their personality, their mindset, and their thoughts. Let's just say, for instance, they decided to end the relationship with you and now they want to move forward in a way where they travel around the world, where they decide to try and get a new job, where they try to learn a new skill. And for whatever reason, these things don't work out. So this isn't romantically based, but they are having their self-esteem lessened and lowered because life isn't going the way that they believed it would. They took a chance, they ended a relationship, they went in a different direction, but it is still not working out for them. They are chasing happiness, they're chasing fulfillment, and they're still not feeling it. Again, at this moment in time, they may start to feel guilty for how they treated you, and they may start to think of you and look at you more favourably because they've taken a chance, they've gone a different direction, and they are feeling a lot worse, you could argue, because not only are they still not fulfilled, but they no longer have somebody who truly loved them. You know, at the end of the day, in these instances, you often see the dumpee really loves their ex. The dumper has made a move in a different direction, a different route, a different path, and they don't find fulfillment, and they also no longer have the love that they did have from the dumpee. This is where their self-esteem is lowered. This is where they can start to think back of how they treated you, the dumpee. And this is where they can start to feel guilty and start to grow romantic emotional attraction in their mind for their now ex, you, the dumpee. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast about when does a dumper feel guilty. And point number 3 is when dumpee proves them wrong. So this is something that you as a dumpee can actively increase your chance of trying to get your ex back, increasing your chance of growing romantic emotional attraction in your dumper's mind. And this is where you prove them wrong. So let's just say you were dumped because you were complacent. Let's just say you were dumped because you were not being the type of person that they hoped you would be. Now, of course, you need to do this for you, not them. But still, attraction can be lost for various reasons, such as lack of ambition, lack of effort, lack of something which maybe since the breakup you have now found. Let's just say you didn't want to get a job and your ex, the dumper, was really upset about this. They didn't feel that you two could work as a relationship team if you never got yourself a job. Well, after the breakup, you get yourself a great job. That's the type of situation where a dumper may see from afar what you are doing and they start to feel guilty because you are proving them wrong. Maybe you said, just give me a little time, I'm going to get there. And they didn't give you that time and now you're proving them wrong. Maybe it is a body transformation. Maybe you were not as physically attractive, as physically healthy as you once were. Maybe you got complacent with your physical well-being and your dumper lost romantic and physical attraction for you. Okay? What happens after the breakup? Well, you start looking after yourself, you start eating healthy, exercising regularly, you're no longer taking bad substances. What happens? You become healthier, you look fantastic, you are the type of person that your ex, the dumper, always wanted you to be, and now you are, and more. Again, you're proving them wrong. Again, they could and will start likely feeling guilty for not giving you the time, not giving you the chance to improve yourself. Now, you as a dumpee might think, well, they dumped me. I no longer want them if they come crawling back. And that is very understandable. But lots of dumpees would love to try to get their ex back. And if you prove them wrong by being the type of person that they didn't believe you could be, maybe you asked for time and you were not given it, then this is how you can grow romantic emotional attraction in their mind. But you will also be growing it in other people's minds as well. Because if you do everything right, if you become a better person today than you were yesterday, a better person tomorrow than you are currently today, you will become a version 2.0 of yourself. You will grow a larger attraction net than you had when you first attracted your ex. And what does this mean? It means when you put your net out to sea, you can attract even more people, you may say better quality people. So not only could you be re-attracting your ex, you could be attracting people that previously you never ever could. So you will have options. You will have an abundance mindset, and your ex, the dumper, may not be the only person who is vying for your attention. So who do you choose? Somebody new or your ex? Well, look, it's win-win. You will either get your ex back or you will find somebody even better. So always make sure you are doing it for you, but always make sure, dumpees, you prove your ex wrong by living your best life, by improving every single day, by becoming a version 2.0 of yourself. You can do it. I believe in you. Let's start improving today. Little by little, day by day, step by step, become the person you know you could be, the person that I know you can be, and the person that your ex never gave you chance to be. You can do this, but do it for you, not for them, and let the byproduct be that they want you more than they ever did before. Even when you were together originally, make them want you much more than that. And then you will have the choice. Do you take them back, or do you get somebody even better, somebody different, somebody new? So point number 3, when dumpee proves the dumper wrong, this is where a dumper can feel guilty and grow romantic emotional attraction for them, quite arguably and quite often to that high point where they then will likely reach out. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.